The overwhelming natural beauty of South America provides the backdrop for a culture rich in traditional and religious values. A giant united by the Spanish language and the Catholic faith, South America maintains the ancient traditions, native languages and beliefs belonging to a variety of different native groups. Bolivia, the geographical center of Latin America, is living proof of this beauty and novelty. However, despite the instinctive kindness of the people and the wealth of natural resources, the majority of the population is deeply affected by poverty, a poverty for which the causes are multiple and often not easy to understand. For this reason, the work of the Catholic Church in consoling and helping to cope with the needs is essential. The Catholic Church in Bolivia undertakes health, education and social justice initiatives, often because the government is simply unable to respond. For decades, the Bolivian Catholic Church has received economic and pastoral support from priests and religious organizations from all over the world. Today, the Church is working to stimulate the emergence of an informed conscience and commitment from among the local Catholic population. Recently, the focus has been on young people, asking them to lead a life in accordance with Christian values. The consequence has been a renewed calling to the religious life.
Es vital el ministerio sacerdotal para la vida eclesial.
It is an urgent need to have people devoted to the religious life. That's why a seminary is the nerve center, the most important place in the life of the Church. Thanks be to God, we have many candidates, although less recently, still a good quantity. The number has been increasing since the 80s.
Ha habido un incremento fuerte vocacional numéricamente.
The challenge is to offer an ever better quality of training. A number have left their education, spurring us to improve, to accompany the young, follow the teachers more closely, and so to assure the quality we are looking for. These are our concerns. The central issue is that the seminary is so important because it is a vital part of the local church.
Es parte vital de una iglesia local.
Arnulfo Dorado Languidey is a seminarian who comes from San Rafael de Velasco, a village in the province of Velasco in southwest Bolivia, known as Chiquitania by the native people. This region is famous for its old Jesuit missions, their traces still visible since colonial times. These remarkable Jesuit buildings were at the origin of each one of the province's villages. The missionaries managed to infuse the native culture with a deep Catholic faith. This integration is still visible today.
El llamado como tal ha sido desde los grupos juveniles.
I felt the call when I was in a youth group. I was an altar boy, assisting the priests during liturgical celebrations. And I thought how beautiful it is to see how a priest offers the Mass. Little by little, I had my own expectations, my hopes, my goal. I can do the same. It marked my life. As time went by, my vocation became more mature.
Con el transcurso del tiempo también he ido madurando en esta vocación, ¿no?
As with many seminarians, Arnulfo grew up in a small village where, as a child, he experienced the importance of the Church's presence for the community. Together with many children of his age, he received a religious education, the human values which would mark him throughout his life. In his catechesis, he learned the importance of community work, the meaning of honesty, and the value of family. Arnulfo helped his father raise the animals and vegetables, which they would later sell at the village to support the large family. Soon, however, he left the village to pursue his studies in the hopes of realizing his dream of becoming a priest. La Paz, the capital of Bolivia, is a typical urban center in Latin America. Although it boasts wealthy districts among the population of almost 3 million, the majority of its inhabitants are poor. The economy is moreover an informal one. the selling of a variety of products in the streets. This is not enough to respond to all the family needs, but does offer the means to survive. The geography of La Paz is impressive, somewhat like a giant pot between Cordillera Real, a mountain range belonging to Los Andes, and the Altiplano. The outskirts are an endless number of simple huts where the majority of the population live, those who have migrated to the city searching for a better life. The seminary in La Paz lies in the center of the city, as if confronting and responding to the challenges imposed by society. Young people come from not only this diocese, but also from afar, fostering the mingling of a number of different cultures, including the Aymara in the seminary. Considered as a special people of God, the Aymara people feel a heightened responsibility to the Church and to their educational formation. With great effort and limited resources, the La Paz Seminary has worked to improve their facilities, and especially the educational level. The seminary degrees are officially recognized by the Bolivian government, and the curricula are controlled by Catholic University in Bolivia. This academic resource also serves lay people, nuns and priests. In view of the limited finances, the local church needs the support of foreign institutions to improve and maintain the facilities. Aid to the Church in Need is one of the organizations especially interested in helping to train future priests.
Esa misión y esa tarea que ayuda a la iglesia necesitada tiene
Aid to the Church in Need has understood this mission. Since the very beginning, our founder, Father Berenfrid, said that if a seminarian was helped, his formation would provide for the future of the Church. Aid to the Church in Need provides, as one of its main priorities, help to seminarians, especially Bolivian seminarians. The simple reason is that if we have well-prepared young people, we will have a new, a flourishing Bolivian Church. If we take into account the number of bishops that are not Bolivian, it is evident that these students require proper instruction, discipline, and well-integrated preparation so that they too may one day become bishops. In this way, they will be able to lead the numerous dioceses and vicariates in the Bolivian wilderness, the most difficult areas of the country. Bolivia is and can be rich in vocations. It is necessary to provide the means.
Ser rico en vocaciones. Hay que proporcionarle los medios.
Hay que regarla esta para que se crezca rápido, porque está muy pequeñita.
Tiene hartas flores.
Sí. Hay que regarle este coquito.
Arnulfo feels relaxed and comfortable back in his native village. He encounters those who cared for him during his early years. His father, who supported a large family and taught him the meaning of work and family loyalty. His mother, still an important example through her perseverance.
Tuve 10 hijos yo. Pues el sexto de mis
I have 10 children. The sixth child is going to become a priest. I feel a special happiness because it is a gift granted by God, the gift of being His representative here. God is so big. I always pray to God. I want Him to go ahead. He must not feel discouraged. I look forward to seeing him celebrate Mass.
Arnulfo does not fail to visit Sister Luisa, an Austrian nun who, from an early age, devoted her life to working in the village. Through her example, he understood the importance of consecrated life, the importance of completing what one promises, and the value of missionary work. Luisa's deep spirituality and simplicity is perhaps that which most inspired Arnulfo, and her prayers may still be one of the strongest and most important supports for Arnulfo's path in faith. It is getting late in this Bolivian Chiquitania, and time for the daily afternoon Mass. It doesn't differ much from the ones Arnulfo used to attend in his childhood. This ancient church takes on a special atmosphere. The deep Catholic traditions of this Bolivian village come alive, linking us with the early church. Built by natives under Jesuit missionaries, further developed by the Franciscans, and today under the care of diocesan priests, the church continues to be the center of the village. Arnulfo, who served Mass as an altar boy, today is getting ready for his ordination as a priest. With a special joy, he accompanies the priest, and as a deacon, he preaches the gospel to the familiar inhabitants of his San Rafael.
Es indescriptible ver en el rostro de las personas.
It is indescribable. The people's faces are full of happiness. They are weeping for joy, their joy. They are celebrating that one of their children has chosen this life. He has been inspired in his vocation. He has followed these steps in the village, and people wish him happiness. We support him and pray for him. Priesthood is a unique vocation, and it is unique for each person, as it's a life of service. We hope he can be ordained here, in his village.
Esperamos que él venga a ordenarse a su pueblo.
Cochabamba is an important city in the country, characterized by a moderate climate and famous for the imposing image of Christ on a mountaintop at the entrance of the city. The National Seminary of the Bolivian Bishops' Conference is located here, and it is the home for every candidate to the priesthood from all over the country. The seminarians conclude their higher studies here. A few months ago, Arnulfo was here. This old and simple building sheltered him during the last stages of his education. Here, experiences, expectations, and their concerns are exchanged with fellow students from all over the country. Many of them hail from different parts of the country, where not only culture, language, and geography, but also the weather is different. However, they share a common motivation. Bolivia, a nation of beauty, art, and history, needs their service. Like other of his peers, Arnulfo comes from a small rural village and a poor family. This means that often the students have to work and study doubly hard because of the low level of education received when in the village. The number of Bolivian seminarians has increased during the last years, a source of great joy for the Bolivian Church, but at the same time it presents a formidable challenge in the light of the lack of economic resources to provide the education, instructors, educational materials, books, computers, food, and continual maintenance of the aged building used as a seminary. Instructors accomplish their task as best they can and are always on the lookout for the best means to form these youths to become mature and qualified servants of God. Hence, a strict life of prayer and a spiritual guidance accompanies the academic demands. A day in the life of a seminarian does not only include helping with the housework, cooking or exercise, it also includes manual labour. The instructors do not want these young people to lose contact with the land, to lose the sense and value of manual work. This is a way of helping their families and the people who are going to belong to their parishes.
Bueno, el ser formador siempre es un desafío. Siempre es un desafío, ¿no?
Being an instructor is always a challenge.
Que pide una entrega.
It demands a generosity and devotion towards the student, which God has confided him. The instructor has to be an authentic witness. He has to be the living example of what he is teaching. For this reason, he must maintain an authentic and profound spiritual life.
We
shouldn't be so worried about economic concerns. We should be worried about more important things. We should worry about how these future priests are being educated with the resources God has put at our disposal.
But
But of course, there are basic human necessities. When we receive them, we make them study. But if we want them to perform, we must offer them a room, a bed, the necessary food, and the books they will need to study. We do need a lot. Thanks be to God, there are a lot of people who can offer help.
Nos sentimos necesitados, gracias a Dios, por supuesto, de las personas que pueden ayudarnos.
The Diocese of Santa Cruz de la Sierra, in the southeast of the country, has two seminaries, an introductory or propedeutic seminary and the major seminary of philosophy. The building of the major seminary is modern and pleasant due to the warm weather of this region. It accommodates young men from the eastern area of the country. The characteristic culture and geography of this region is quite different from that of the Andes or Amazonian regions. Their education is composed of 3 different academic levels, but in addition, the students are required to follow specific steps in preparation for their ordination as priests. The final stage is the deaconate. In this stage, they have finished their theology studies, and each student returns to his original diocese where the bishop asks them to do pastoral work until their ordination. Throughout this process, the spiritual guide is as necessary as the academic professor.
Pues yo aquí espero que estos jóvenes, ¿no?, puedan
I do not doubt for a moment that the young realize what kind of shepherd the Church needs. Mainly in the eastern part of Bolivia, they need a very simple priest who can be easily integrated to society to encourage their faith, somebody who can identify himself with his people. They need a priest to fight side by side with them, a priest whose concern for them is sincere, a priest whose worry is about them, particularly those in need.
Aquellos que sobre todo están más necesitados.
We experience a variety of realities, particularly regarding the different social and economic environments. I have experienced that a community, a village, regards their priest as their only hope. They feel they can talk to him and that he can speak on their behalf. He has the power of dialogue, he can speak for them, and he can act as a mediator.
Él tiene la palabra, él puede intervenir por nosotros, él puede mediar.
The eastern part of Bolivia is experiencing demographic expansion through immigration, urgently requiring the presence of more native priests. As throughout the country, the Catholic Church is making great efforts to encourage more vocations, and then to support structures for their education. In this work, another challenge is to form a good team of instructors. To achieve this goal, the Church relies on the cooperation of foreign priests.
Lo que alienta mucho es ver cómo hay jóvenes.
What really encourages us is to see that there are young people willing to be instructed, despite the many years they have to spend, at least 8 years of preparation. We also feel motivated to see that they are curious and eager to learn when they come here. We can see a true and deep vocation in them.
Por suerte van creciendo los aportes de la iglesia local.
Luckily, we can see that contributions to the local church are increasing. That is because the parishes have young priests who have graduated here, and they foster life in the different communities. Increasingly, more people are becoming sensitive to the realities of the seminary, and they offer some economic help. Fortunately, the Universal Church is close to us and helps us to continue this mission. The economic help is important, but what encourages us more is to realize that there are many faithful ready to provide support through their prayers, through their interest and concern for the seminary. And it is beautiful to have this kind of relationship with benefactors. We tell them about our hard work and about the achievements in our seminary.
Comunicando también lo que es la fatiga y los logros de nuestro seminario.
One of the international Catholic institutions that offers a generous help for the maintenance of the seminaries in Bolivia is Aid to the Church in Need. This organization collects help from thousands of Catholic individuals from all over the world.
En los viajes que nuestra institución realiza,
during our travels, we have noted the increasing number of vocations, then the improved infrastructures of the seminaries, which are, for example, becoming better equipped as regards computer systems. There is a greater quantity of books, and there are more instructors as well. All this is gratifying for us, as we have been making it a priority to help seminarians for over 50 years. The help granted by our organization is anonymous. It is not that our benefactors do not know how we spend the money, but they trust our organization. Our seminarians also do not know where the help comes from. That bridge, that channel of generosity is in fact what Father Verenfred always called for. Let our left hand not know what our right hand has made for the benefit of seminarians in Bolivia.
Esa es la ilusión que siempre ponemos. Una iglesia viva.
We have great hopes for our church. We want a living, native church, a church representative of our situation, a church where young people can acquire new values, cultural values, personal values, village values. The challenges are not few.
Los desafíos son muchos. En el pueblo boliviano, en los fieles de Bolivia como tal.
Bolivian people need moral, spiritual and psychological support. Many families are breaking up today. It is important to focus especially on these families. I think this is the best we can offer today. We must support these families so that they can recover their integrity, not only the marriage, but also the personal relationships.
Tanto del matrimonio, tanto personal también.
There are so many young people with no purpose in life. We should support them as we can. I believe that this is the best we can offer.
Y es necesario apoyarlo en todo sentido. Creo que es lo más grande que uno puede dar.
Today, Arnulfo accompanies a group of students in their Saturday missionary work. Studying is very important for their preparation as priests. However, missionary work and charity work are highly important, and these activities are part of their preparation. These kinds of activities encourage a compassionate heart and help them pay attention to the most neglected groups in society. A visit to a home for the elderly and disabled makes the young people confront human suffering, but at the same time it is an opportunity to experience the happiness of giving love. Arnulfo has finished his studies, and, as a deacon, he is carrying out a task which he considers a privileged mission. He has been asked to be an instructor at the seminary. There, He is to spread his enthusiasm and to accompany those who have chosen to take a path on which he walked not so long ago.
Si el seminario funciona bien, si en el seminario se da todo aquello.
If the seminary works well, if the seminary forms true and authentic shepherds, then our church grows and our people will enjoy the benefits. So to have a privileged consideration of our seminaries, to offer them our affection, our love and commitment, is to have a tender and affectionate consideration of our church. We are very optimistic now. The outlook is full of hope and optimism. Our seminaries have grown considerably recently, and even these are full. We have many young people, though we cannot say they will all become priests. In this way, the future is not certain. But we can say that we are on the right path, and our steps are more confident because we are receiving more native candidates. We also instruct our students to be prepared to be missionaries, not only in Bolivia, but in other parts of the world. We are working on this objective, although we know that this will not be an easy task. We need to pay attention to every human aspect. We must prepare them intellectually, physically and morally so that they can serve our people.
A recibir este servicio para nuestro pueblo.
There is a hope that unites Catholics in Bolivia and around the world. A new generation of native priests with a solid education and human maturity committed to preaching the values of the gospel in an authentic way to create a fairer and more fraternal society in Bolivia.